Hey y'all, it's Mai again, the lady, and I'm sharing life lessons that I'm learning along the way on my journey, not only from personal experience, but from the experiences of others around me that I've gleaned from. So I am hoping that you're finding value in this content. If you are, please subscribe. As you can see, we're on the ground floor, and I'm trying to be a bit more consistent. Pray for me. But please join me. Please subscribe, and we'll go on with today's life lessons, which is part two of relationship tips from a healed divorced person. And today, this is going to be for those who have never been married, okay? Single, never married. And I would say specifically if you desire to be married or in a committed monogamous relationship. So I'm going to say, first of all, in full transparency, it took me a minute to kind of go back to that time of my life because I honestly feel like I've lived 20 more lives since that time. I got married when I was 28 and I just celebrated my 50th birthday. Praise God. I'm unapologetic about my age, so I don't mind sharing it. But that was a long time ago. So from 0 to 28, I was in the never married status. And it really genuinely feels like another life, another person. I've morphed and changed so much since then. My mindset has changed so much. So I literally had to go back to that time. And it was a little bit difficult at first because I've so removed myself from that version of myself. But here goes. The first relationship tip, life lesson, life tip is live your life. Live. Don't wait to experience certain things or do certain things until you get married. I want to really emphasize this because I remember not only myself, but a number of people that I knew back then, and even some people that I know now, they literally do not want to do certain things until they get married. And I get it. I get it. I remember the first time I had a good friend of mine. She was a single mom. At that point, she had never been married. And she asked me to go with her to look at houses. And not just look at houses, but she was going to look at building a home from the ground up. I was like, what? You're going to do this now as a single woman? In my mind, that's something you do with your spouse when you get married. But she was like, no, I want it now. I want to do it now, and I can do it now, so I'm going to do it. And that was the first time I ever had a challenge to that mindset, specifically in that area, that you, as a single person, can, and if you want to, should go out and do something like purchase property, purchase a home. You don't have to wait until you're married to do that. I used to be like, oh, I don't want to do that until I get married. Now, I broke that mindset, but I did still end up waiting until I got married to buy my first property. And that's because I just got cold feet. I saw that. I went through the whole process. I got pre-approved. I had started looking. I had actually found a single family home. And when they presented me with that paperwork and I saw the amortization and all of the interest over the life of the loan, I freaked. And it was a bit much for me at that time. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to handle it on my own, just in the big scheme of things, even though I could afford it. So yeah, there's no pressure on that. Sometimes it's that type of situation. But the other thing was, prior to my friend planting that seed in me, I literally had in my mind that I wouldn't even consider. I couldn't even see myself doing that before being married. So I share that with you to say, don't put your life on hold. Do not wait to exhale. Breathe. Take it all in. Live out loud and live fully, even in your never married single state, because you only have today. You only have control over today. You don't know what's going to happen with your spouse or future spouse. You don't know when it's going to happen. Any of that, okay? If that's what you desire, I believe, and I'm praying and believing that that will happen for you, but you don't know when that's going to happen. So in the meantime, live your life fully, okay? That's the first one. And I'm going to add, that includes travel. Many of us have things that we want to do when we get married in terms of travel or experiences, not just buying a home, something like that. It's like literally, oh, I don't want to, I'm saving that restaurant for, a really special occasion when I get engaged, or when I get, the day after our wedding. We have all of these plans. And what if something is short-circuited and you never were able to have that experience? I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but the reality is that you literally only have today. Don't wait. Don't wait to wear that new panty and bra set. I know, let me just share this as well. Before I was married, me and a cousin of mine, we collected beautiful like lingerie, just looking forward to that, day that we would be married, okay? And that we were, we had this thing built up in our minds that, oh yeah, I'm gonna have something for every night, and all this beautiful stuff. And it was like sitting in a closet waiting. Had quite a bit of stuff. And of course, it came in handy, but really, once I did get married, well, I'm going to hold that back. But, sometimes you don't end up wearing all of that stuff. Let's put it like that. You prefer other things, okay? Or nothing at all. Just keeping it real. So just again, don't wait. Don't wait. Okay. I'm looking down because y'all know I always have my notes. The next thing is, it is imperative to be clear with yourself about what you desire, not in a relationship, but out of life. Out of life. Many of us, we're so focused on partnership and what's going to happen when we partner up, that we are not doing not enough self-work, okay? And because of that, when we get in these relationships, we're not prepared. We're underdeveloped. We're underdeveloped mentally, spiritually, in so many ways, because we hadn't taken our time during our single years, never married years, to really learn ourselves, to really figure out our purpose, which is here. I'm a Christ follower, okay? I believe that we all have a divine assignment and we have a God-given purpose as to why we are on the planet at this time in this space. So I really feel like that a lot of things will be avoided if we took the time when we are pre-marriage, pre-partnership, to really dive into purpose, passion. What are you passionate about? What is your long view of life? Because if you don't know that, that means you don't know yourself. And if you don't know yourself, it's inevitable that you may miss partner. You may miss partner. You may partner with the wrong person because you don't know even what you like, what you need, where you're going. And none of us know everything. But as you mature and specifically do that self work, then you discover yourself and you can become more confident in what you truly desire in life, not just in a relationship. What type of life do you desire? And those things will help to drive your choices in partner. It is very important because so many times we get caught up in the superficial stuff. And let me be clear, physical, while important in terms of attraction, yes, you want to be attracted to the person that you're with, but the bigger thing is what's inside a person. And then beyond that is what's inside of you, and do the two align? A person can have great character, they can be a great person, but your life may not be in alignment. Your personalities may not be in alignment. Your goals may not be in alignment. For this reason, it is very important that you're clear on those things as much as possible before you partner with someone. These are the things to be focused on. Your development, your personal development in every way, spiritually, physically, emotionally, psychologically, all of those things. If you have things in your background that were traumatic, if you had a traumatic childhood, you must understand that you have to heal. If you don't heal prior to partnership, you are going to partner with a trauma mindset. You are not clear-minded if you are carrying unresolved, unhealed trauma. Therefore, that's going to affect the type of partner that you choose or that you accept. That's men and women. It goes across the board. So, how many times have you heard people say that the whole thing about growing apart again? Sometimes it wasn't really a growing apart. It's I discovered who I really was. I learned me. And when I learned me, I realized we are not in alignment. This is why we're miserable. Or if we're not miserable, we're lukewarm. We're just making our way through life because our partnership was based on the unhealed version of me, the unhealed version of you. There's been so many also stories about people who had a major life change. So for instance, if they partnered up when they had some type of addiction, like they were alcoholic or they were on drugs or something like that, or they were the atheist or something like that, and they had a discovery or a healing. They got off the alcohol, they got off the drugs, they discovered God, okay? Now it's like they've rediscovered and uncovered themselves. And now the person that they partnered with in that altered state is not the same. And sometimes the partner is like, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for this. I want the other person. I want the person that's kicking it and we can, get turned up every night or whatever. And now you don't want to even drink at all. You don't want to drink? That's what we do. It is better to come into partnership in as healed a state as you can be, which means you do what you can to address your issues prior to choosing a partner. And sometimes it's not even those things that are so blatant, like, an addiction or some jacked up stuff that happened in your childhood or whatever. Sometimes it's really just not knowing who you are, not knowing your purpose, not knowing what you see in your future, and then discovering that later, and the other person is not only not in alignment, but they have no desire to be in alignment. I'm telling you this, if you get this, it will help you to avoid that type of mistake. You ain't gonna be able to avoid all mistakes, but there's some things you can avoid if you do the work. It's pre-production for all my creative people. Okay, the third tip is to dethrone partnership, romantic relationship, and marriage. Dethrone it. A lot of us, unbeknownst to us, prior to marriage, idolize romantic relationships and marriage. And when we do that, we build up a fantasy. It is a fairy tale. Trust me. I remember before I had been married, I remember my brother who is on his second marriage and is only due to his first marriage ending in death. So my sister-in-law, my first sister-in-law, passed away in an accident, and they had been together for a long time, and now he's been with his second wife for a long time. Okay, and he would always tell me to stop reading all of these relationship books and romance novels. And I mean, I would devour these books talking about relationships and all that kind of stuff. He would say, I love love. And maybe I do. I don't know. Maybe I do. I definitely did then. But I also built kind of a fantasy around the idea of love, the idea of relationship, romantic relationship, the idea of marriage, of having your person, your person. You hear that? I built a fantasy around it. And I had it as such a something that I was so looking forward to, because I thought that it was going to add something to my life that was missing. And yes, it does. It does, but not in the way most of us think that it will prior to experiencing it. This is why so many people become disillusioned and disappointed once they actually get married and they begin to walk out that day to day. I don't care if I know people that lived together for years prior to actually getting married, and then got married, and that junk didn't last 1 or 2 years. Their pre-marriage relationship lasted way longer. And I think because there's a certain fairy tale expectation that in our society in particular, Western society, American society in particular, we have attached to marriage and how we think it's going to be. Even if we've been with that person for years, something still flips and clicks. And then the other thing is sometimes people switch it up. They've been a certain way all this time because they were looking forward to it and they wanted that so badly. And then when they finally got the yes, the official, something also, the getting settled down that I talked about in the marriage tip video. Some people, that's also what happens. Some people are also holding things about themselves for a very long time until it's official. And then all these skeletons start tumbling out of the closet by mistake sometimes as well. Dethrone the idea of romantic relationship, of partnership, of marriage before you've been married, because I guarantee you that will set you up for disappointment. Marriage is a beautiful, wonderful experience. It's beautiful, but it will be much more beautiful if we don't have the fairy tale attached to it, because we will have a certain expectation that most likely that individual is not going to live up to. And if they do initially, it may not be sustainable. Okay. I hope that you're hearing me and that you're getting value out of this. I'm really, really trying to go back in my mind and my spirit. And I did pray before this because I really want to help people to go into these type of relationships with a better mindset than some of us did it, in a better space, a stronger position. Okay. Along with the dethroning of partnership, stop comparing your journey with other people's journeys. Oh, she did this or she did that. She didn't, do what I'm doing, and she still ended up, with everything that I want. He didn't do this. He ain't this. He trash. He this, that, the other. But he still ended up with the family that I want. He ain't even as good as a dude as I am. And he getting all of this. He don't even appreciate what he has. Don't compare your life, your journey with anyone else's. That will also set you up for disappointment and hurt. Because your focus prior to marriage, if marriage is what you desire, should be on what I said before. Developing yourself, discovering your purpose, discovering what, and not only discovering, getting on into it. You ain't got time to be comparing yourself to other people. And on top of that, you don't really know what's going on over there. Everything that is presented on the outside, even if it's real, you simply are just getting a glimpse into it. You don't really know what's going on in people's relationships, and you really don't even know the foundation of these relationships. Some people, if you heard their foundation stories, it'll be like, I don't want that. I would never want that. But yet you've been over here idolizing, like, thirsting after what they have, and you don't even know what they have. Don't do it. The other thing is that also sets you up for, like, I've never been the type of person to look at someone else's man in terms of their husband and wish that, I wish that I had a husband like that. I wish I had that type of man. No, I don't personally do that. And I have discovered that there are people that do that. When you do that, you are setting yourself up, because you don't even know what it's like to be with that person in that case. People say, this person seems so this, that, the other. Seem is the key word. You don't know what it's like to be with that person, to be in a relationship with that person, to be married to that person. Even if you yourself were with that person, it still wouldn't be the same as what you are looking from the outside in at, because it would be a completely new entity. You're not who that person is with now, and they may not be the same type of person with you as they are with that person. It's foolishness to compare in any way. It's foolishness to covet. Okay, that's like a churchy word, a scriptural word. Covet means you are wishing for, desiring something that someone else has. You're desiring, I wish I had that. You don't even know what you're asking for. You have no idea. So don't do it. Save yourself some trouble. Okay. The last one is, you know, the list. Come on now. You know, the list that many single people have. Single people that desire to be married, desire to be in partnership. That list is usually everything we want in a partner. Everything we want out of a relationship. The type of man or woman that we want, all of their attributes, what we want them to look like, how we want to feel with them, blah, 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 all of this stuff. Some people go real deep with it, how tall he is, or how short she is, or how, what, features and this, that, the other. Some people go there, okay? That list, let's get rid of that list and let's make a list for ourselves. What do you want to be? Who are you? What type of partner do you want to be? What do you want to bring to someone else's life? Not what you're looking to receive. What do you have to give? And when I say that, I'm not talking materially. I'm talking about what type of person are you? All the stuff that we break down on these lists that we want the other person to be, the outside, always outside. We need to flip that and come internally. I'm specifically talking about people who's never been married, because especially in this day and age, oh my gosh, all of the rhetoric, all of this, it's like an entitled energy. Like, this is not good enough for me, so blah, blah, blah. And don't get me wrong, I am all for the standards. But the problem is that when you think about either yourself or you hear people talking around you, most of the conversation is what they want the other person to do for them, what they expect, what they, the type of behavior they want, what they want them to look like, how much money they want them to make. You get what I'm saying? It's very little talk about, I want to do this for another person. I want to love them this way. I want to honor them this way. I want to respect. And I mean, genuinely mean it. Not this fake stuff. Genuinely mean it. And actually are taking the steps to be that to another person, because you're actually already operating in that type of energy with the people that are currently in your life. Like for me right now, I'm divorced, okay? And I'm unmarried, okay? I consciously practice certain things on the people that are around me now. I practice communication skills, good communication skills, expressing myself, being vulnerable, because that's been an issue for me. Is it an issue for you? There's a lot of people that have a problem being vulnerable, just letting themselves be open and, actually expressing their thoughts, their feelings, their opinions. A lot of us don't have a problem expressing our opinions, but I'm talking about those heart things. allowing another person to be a safe space? Are you practicing these type of things with the people that are around you now? Are you practicing selflessness when you really don't want to do it? You really don't want to do it, but because you love this person that is asking something of you and you have the ability to do it, but you don't want to, you really don't feel like it, but you do it anyway. Because guess what? In marriage, that's what good marriages are made of. Both people giving and loving sacrificially. See, we don't want to talk about that. We do not want to talk about what marriage really is like, because we are in a fairy tale before we get married. When you never been married, a lot of us are focused on the fluff. We're not focused on, okay, you just got married and this person comes down with some type of illness out of the blue. How you gonna act then? This was not the fairy tale. This wasn't the fairy tale. You just got married and y'all been good financially. All of a sudden, somebody loses their job. And it's hitting y'all. It's affecting lifestyle. It's affecting a bunch of stuff. This is not the fairy tale. You get married. You marry somebody that, ladies, you marry a man that has children. The children has been living with their mother. Y'all get married and all of a sudden those children now, for whatever reason, they got to come live with y'all full time. Oh, you didn't sign up for that, huh? But your man is a package deal. Let me say this. Oh, thank you, Lord. If you choose, for you never married people, if you choose to entertain, let's go all the way back to entertaining. If you choose to go out with someone that you know has children, I need your mindset to be from the door that if I proceed forward with this person, they are a package deal. And just as much as I love this person, I am going to need to love those children's. You get what I'm saying? I'm going to need to love those children just like I birthed them out of my womb. For men, just as if they came out of me. They came from me. If you cannot do that, you don't even need to go out with that person. Don't play with it. Especially if your goal is marriage. If your goal is marriage and their goal is marriage, then you please, if you know that you can't have that mindset and that position, that posture, that energy towards that person's children, you do not even need to go there. There's no shame in it, but the shame is if you go into that situation and then you mistreat those children, and mistreating may not be putting hands on or whatever. It may be acting indifferent towards them. It may be putting pressure on your spouse to not be as engaged with their children from a previous relationship. It may be mistreating them when the spouse is not around, or even if they crazy enough in front of them. It has been known that there have been people that demanded that they pretty much disown their children from another relationship. It's evil. It's evil. And I'm sorry, I am calling the junk out. If that's you, something wrong with you. You need to go heal. You need to go get some therapy. You need to go pray. You need to get some God in your life, because I question anyone that say that they have a relationship with God that will mistreat a child. If you don't want someone that already has children because you don't want that type of, and it's nothing wrong with that. Listen, but before I had ever been married, I didn't have children. I did not really want a ready-made family. So if someone approached me that already had a child, I wasn't going for it. Now, I will say my first love, basically, he told me by the end of our first date that he had a child, because I had that position. At that time, I was 19. I really wasn't trying. I'm like, no, I don't want nobody with kids, because I didn't have any. I wanted a rebuilt family from scratch. I didn't want a ready-made family, okay? Because I had already seen some of the issues that can happen when you have a blended family, because I came from a blended family. So I would not choose that for myself if I had a choice. But once he told me that, child, I was already gone. I was already gone in terms of my feelings by the end of the first date. So I made a conscious choice to change my mindset and say, I feel that at that time, this is my person. I will accept and receive their child as if the child was my own. If I could not have done that, I wouldn't have touched it. Okay? Enjoyed you. Bye-bye. Please keep that in mind. This will be the last, like the bonus thing, and I'm going to end this because it's yet again getting a little long. When I said about be clear about what's important to you, about what type of life you want to live, as you're entertaining people, as you're leading up to finding your life partner, your spouse, please don't play with the values. Don't play with it. If you know, let's take the children for example. If you know that you don't desire to have children at all, if the other person says, well, I've always wanted children, I want kids, leave them alone. That is not a match for you. That is not a match for you. And vice versa. You know you always wanted kids, you desired, and you meet somebody and you really like them, and they're like, I don't want kids. Or I already have kids and I don't want any more. Leave them alone. I'm not saying that you can't be friends, but you need to squash that thought unless you are going to change your mind and compromise on that. But if it's a core desire or value, let's talk about faith. If you're a Christian or a Christ follower, or even if you're Muslim or what, like, I think Muslims have the same energy. Now, I know some people that ain't practicing that, but but I know in the Bible, it talks about being unequally yoked. It's not just about, are we both believers in Christ or followers of Christ? It goes much deeper than that. And we can talk about that another time. That's another video. But are you in alignment with the person if you have different faiths? Once you get over all the gushy smushy stuff, if you get all out of the bed and all of that, how is that going to affect your life if you are not in alignment on what you believe? If you are a woman and you don't want a man that goes to, this is the real example, strip clubs, and you meet somebody and that's what they do every weekend, they love it, they don't see anything wrong with it, it relaxes them, they love seeing beautiful women, all of the things, this is what they boys like to do, they don't see anything wrong with it. If You don't want a man that goes to strip clubs. You don't need to keep entertaining that gentleman, because the worst thing you can do is now continue to go on forward with this person and then start nagging them to change. They was honest from the beginning of what they enjoy doing. Gentlemen, if you know you want a woman that is domesticated, like she cooks most days of the week, and then you meet a woman that don't cook at all, but because she fine, you keep pushing on, and then you later on you get angry because she never cooks. You spending all this money eating out, or you getting big because you eating out all the time and you want some nutritious home cooked meals. That's not the woman that you chose. She presented herself, what she told you from the beginning, she don't cook. And you just, because she was fine and you liked what she did in the bedroom, you just like, well, I can deal with that. When you know that your mama cooked, your grandmama cooked, your auntie cooked, you won't. That's what you've always wanted in a woman. You've always wanted that in a wife. Don't try to flip somebody on the back end when they presented their authentic selves from the beginning. That doesn't mean that people can't grow or change, but understand what your priorities are, what type of life you want, and look for partnership that is in alignment with that. Okay? I hope that this has been valuable to you. If it has, as I said, please subscribe, please like, please comment. I want to hear you all's feedback. Is there anything that you would add to this? Yeah.